Hello, I'm Sheryl, and this is Sleep Tight, Relax, a calming bedtime show for the young and young at heart. This story might seem familiar to many of you. Sometimes listening to old stories told in new ways is a fun way to relax before bed. This story takes place in a magical meadow, maybe not too far from where you are. Goldiepaws, a curious and adventurous golden-colored cat, longs for adventure beyond her familiar surroundings. She embarks on a journey into the forest and discovers a cottage where she encounters 3 bowls of stew and 3 beds, each varying in comfort. After eating from the just right bowl and resting in the coziest bed, she meets the cottage's owners, a family of kind-hearted Corgis, upon their return. Despite their initial surprise, they treat each other with kindness. Goldiepaws thanks them and returns to her adventure, well-rested and ready for whatever awaits her. Before we listen to our story, let's get cozy and comfortable and spend some time getting relaxed. You can close your eyes if you'd like. Now take a deep breath in, filling your lungs with air slowly. Feel the air as it enters through your nose, fills your chest, and lifts your belly. Hold that breath for a moment and imagine it's a warm, glowing light. As you breathe out, slowly release the air and imagine any worries or distractions floating away with it. Again, breathe in, counting to 3, feeling calmness sweep over you. Hold it, and let that warmth spread from your toes to the top of your head. Now, exhale slowly to the count of 3, feeling more relaxed with every breath. With each inhale, think of it as opening the door to a new magical world, just waiting for you to have a new adventure. And as you exhale, you're stepping through that door, ready to explore and enjoy. Take a deep breath in and let the air out. Let's take one more deep breath in. Hold it, feeling fully relaxed, and breathe out. Ready to listen to our story with a calm mind and a big heart. At the end of our story, I will leave you with some music to help you on your journey to amazing adventures in your dreams. Goldiepaws and the 3 Corgis. Once upon a time, in a lush corner of a sprawling magical meadow, where the sun seemed to pause and smile down upon the earth, there lived a cat whose fur shimmered like spun gold. This was no ordinary cat. She was Goldiepaws, named for the radiant hue of her coat that mirrored the sun's own golden light. It wasn't just her appearance that made her special, but also her spirit. Her spirit was that of an old cat, yet her demeanor held the joy and wonder of a kitten encountering the world for the first time. There was a cleverness in her emerald eyes, a spark that spoke of a keen mind always at work. pondering the workings of the world around her. Her senses were sharp. She could hear the whispers of the earth, feel the subtle shifts in the wind, and smell adventures waiting on the horizon. Goldiepaws was known to be as kind as she was curious. She would pause in her explorations to nuzzle a lonely rabbit or share her warmth with a family of field mice on a chilly evening. Goldiepaws was a creature of wonder, with eyes that held the sparkle of curiosity and a heart that beat to the rhythm of adventure. In the meadow, she was known by all. The chirping crickets that serenaded the night, the butterflies that waltzed in the day, and the wise old owl who watched over the meadow from the ancient oak. They all knew and loved Goldiepaws, for her spirit was as much a part of the meadow as the daisies and the soft green clover. But beneath her serene exterior, a tiny whisper of restlessness stirred within Goldiepaws. The gentle rustle of the leaves in the wind spoke to her of mysteries beyond the meadow, of places where the grass whispered secrets and the moon shone on lands she had yet to tread. She wanted to explore these unknown realms, to seek adventure beyond the confines of her home. As days turned into nights and nights back into days, Goldiepaws' desire to travel grew until she could no longer wait. One crisp morning, under the dawn's early light, she stood at the edge of her familiar world. With the meadow behind her just starting its morning sounds, she cast her gaze toward the beckoning shadows of the forest. It was time, she decided, to finally go on an adventure, just like the ones that had filled her dreams. As Goldiepaws left the meadow, the atmosphere shifted. The air was cooler, the sounds more mysterious, and the light filtered through the canopy in speckled patterns. The forest was not silent. It spoke in rustles and chirps, in the creak of branches and the soft tread of unseen creatures. Goldiepaws listened, learned, and moved with a delicate respect for this new place she was discovering. Walking through endless trees, bushes, ferns of all types, and the occasional flower was fun. But it also made Goldiepaws tired and hungry. Luckily, in the heart of the woods, where the trees seemed to lean in with knowing looks, Goldiepaws found something unexpected. A cottage which looked like it could have been from a fairy tale. It was nestled in a clearing where the sun broke through the canopy to shine on the earth below. The cottage was very quiet. Goldiepaws approached slowly and cautiously, but her curiosity got the best of her as she walked to the slightly ajar door. With a nudge of her golden head, she pushed it open and stepped inside, crossing into a realm of comfort and warmth. With the door giving way to her gentle nudge, Goldiepaws stepped over the threshold into a world unlike her own. The cottage was a treasure trove of novelties, with walls adorned with woven tapestries and shelves lined with trinkets and books. The air was thick with the aroma of bygone meals and the faint trace of lavender. Goldiepaws moved with care, her golden coat brushing against the wooden floor as she navigated this human sanctuary, her eyes wide with the wonder of each new discovery. Like many homes, the heart of the cottage was its kitchen, where an unattended table held 3 bowls of stew. The bowls sent up wisps of steam, each telling a different tale of what was contained within. The first bowl was a cauldron of heat, like a witch's brew, bubbling and much too hot for Goldiepaws' delicate senses. The second was cold and uninviting, and lacked the warmth she sought. But the third, the smallest bowl, was a wonderful balance of temperatures and scents, seemingly calling her to taste its contents. Surprised at how hungry she was, she devoured it, finding it as satisfying as a patch of sunlight on a cool day. After eating so much food, she felt even more tired, so Goldiepaws sought out a place to rest. She discovered a trio of beds, each distinct in its make and appeal. The largest bed was an ocean of pillows and blankets, swallowing her up whole. It was too big for her liking. She might get lost. The next bed was as hard and unyielding as the forest floor, offering no comfort. The forest floor might have been more comfortable, she thought. But the smallest bed looked perfect to her. A perfect cocoon of quilts and cushions that seemed to have been waiting just for her. Goldiepaws curled up in the smallest bed, feeling very cozy and warm, and it almost seemed to be telling her a story, just like her Nana used to before she went to bed. Goldiepaws, nestled in the comfy bed, fell fast asleep. The sound of her gentle purring could be heard throughout the cottage. In her dreams, Goldiepaws roamed free, off on wonderful adventures in parts of the forest she had yet to visit. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with strokes of orange and pink, the true cottage residents returned. They were a family of dogs, each with a kind heart and as gentle as any animal in the forest. Their paws thudded softly on the forest floor, a familiar and comforting drumbeat announcing their arrival. The father dog, a noble Pembroke Welsh Corgi, whose bark was often mistaken for thunder, led the way, with the mother dog, whose gentle gaze was known to soften the hardest of hearts, following close behind. The littlest, a puppy full of boundless energy and joy, scampered at their heels. The father wore a coat of rich red and white. His eyes twinkled with gentle humor and intelligence that belied his stern voice. Despite his impressive presence, he was as playful as he was protective, often playing silly games that contradicted his grand stature. The mother was a cardigan Welsh Corgi, her fur a tapestry of brindle that shimmered with hues of earth and stone. She moved through the cottage with quiet dignity, her every action deliberate and filled with care. The puppy, a mixture of the best traits of his mother and father, was a whirlwind of energy, his short legs carrying him on grand adventures, his yips and barks heard throughout this part of the forest. Upon entering their home, the family of dogs was met with signs of an unexpected visitor. The father dog's deep voice resonated throughout the cottage. "Someone has savored my stew," his tone more curious than alarmed. The mother dog, wise and nurturing, observed the disarray with a gentle tilt of her head. "Someone has sought rest in my bed." It was the puppy, with a squeal of surprise, who first laid eyes on the sleeping Goldiepaws. "Look, a fluffy golden cat sleeps in my bed," he exclaimed, his tail wagging in excitement. The three dogs stood around the smallest bed, looking at the sleeping cat. They were not angry and had no feelings of ill will, but were happy that someone had found comfort and rest within their walls. The soft murmur of the Corgi family's voices lulled Goldiepaws from her dreams. Her eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the warm dimness of the cottage, only to find herself encircled by three dogs, their eyes wide with curiosity. Goldiepaws wasn't scared. She recognized the same kindness in their eyes that she knew reflected in her own. Despite his thunderous bark, the father Corgi spoke with a warmth that resonated through the room. "Who are you, golden visitor that graces our humble bed?" His voice echoed with the hospitality that was the signature of the Corgi clan. The mother Corgi watched the exchange with a tender, welcoming presence, her gaze soft and inviting. And the puppy, unable to contain his excitement, bounced and ran in circles, hoping he had a new friend to play with. In this magical forest, the animals don't talk like they do in our world, but in the quiet cottage, a conversation unfolds. Goldiepaws conveyed her gratitude through gentle purrs and slow blinks, the universal language of cats. She moved to rise, her movements expressing respect for the home she had inadvertently claimed as her own for a brief time. With a delicate stretch, she approached the family, touching her nose to theirs in a gesture of thanks. Yet, despite making new friends and having a new warm place to stay, Goldiepaws knew that adventure was still calling to her. She wanted to explore the magic of the forest, to roam and journey before she settled down again. With a final nose boop to the puppy, Goldiepaws slipped through the open window, her golden form disappearing into the embrace of the twilight forest. The Corgi family watched her depart with a mix of sadness and understanding. They knew that at this point in time, she wanted to wander and that she longed for adventure. As the father dog mended the bed, the mother dog refilled the bowls, and the puppy peered out the window. They vowed that the door would always remain open for the golden cat. If you are still awake, I would like you to whisper to yourself or just say it in your mind. I find joy in exploring and learning new things every day. I am unique and shine brightly in my own way. I am loved and welcomed just the way I am. I am calm, relaxed, and peaceful. Sleep tight.